I swear to God, FIFA is trying their damnedest to become the wokest of the woke in sports. For a while, that title has belonged to the NBA. Now, I don't count the WNBA or the NWSL when I'm talking about this, since both of those leagues are irrelevant and no one watches. But FIFA is a very powerful organization. I know a lot of us here in America don't give a shit about soccer, but the rest of the world, they treat soccer like we treat the NFL. As you guys know, home field advantage is very important in the NFL. It's the same in soccer. Soccer fans are notoriously brutal on opposing teams, opposing players. Matter of fact, soccer has the most rabid fans of any sport. I saw a story earlier today, I think it was in Argentina, where a coach got caught in crossfire, actually took a bullet to his shoulder. This happened at a soccer match. In hockey, it's not out of the ordinary to see players fight. In soccer, it's not out of the ordinary to see fans fight. For decades, soccer fans in Mexico have chanted puta at opposing players. Most of the time, the chant is directed at the opponent's goalie. Now, puta has several different translations. If you type it in your Google machine, it's going to come back translated as the F word. When Mexican fans are chanting puta at a soccer match, it translates to gay prostitute. Now, I'm not sure why that is so offensive, but I'm also not easily offended. Apparently, FIFA finds puta to be very offensive. No one in Mexico does, but FIFA is now in the business of telling people across the world what should be considered offensive in their own culture. The puta chant has become a tradition in Mexican soccer. I don't feel like fans are chanting it out of spite or out of hate, out of malice. It is no different than any other chant at another sporting event. In New Orleans, for example, we break out Who Dat chants several times a game. I'm waiting for social justice warriors to find something offensive about that. Maybe they'll say Who Dat is offensive to the World Health Organization, who uses the letters WHO as their acronym. The woke are going after fans at sporting events lately. They don't want the tomahawk chop at Braves games. I was watching Monday Night Football last night, and before the game even started, 70,000 people at Arrowhead Stadium broke out into the chop on ESPN, national television. I am sure that was enough to send Bill Plaschke running under his bed in fear. But social justice warriors are going after fans in soccer too. We have seen FIFA ban fans from attending games in Europe because they were abusing players. I believe it was Hungary, if I'm not mistaken, who was given a 2-game ban due to fan behavior. Now, the same punishment has been handed to Mexico again. Mexico's next 2 World Cup qualifiers will be played with no fans in attendance. They've also been fined $110,000. FIFA is giving Mexico this punishment for failing to quell fan behavior. FIFA is just outraged. The puta chant is offensive. We must put an end to this homophobia. What the hell do you want the Mexican team to do about this? What is the solution here? The punishment is not the solution. We all know what the real solution is. FIFA needs to grow some balls and quit bowing the knee to social justice warriors. But they're not going to do that because FIFA is committed to taking a stand in the fight against racism and homophobia. Here's the thing. How come there's been no outrage before this year? The puta chant has been going on for 20 years. 20 years! And no one has ever been offended by it. All of a sudden, George Floyd is murdered by some cop. Puta is suddenly offensive. How do you draw that parallel? Some black dude in America gets murdered, and a chant by Mexican soccer fans thousands of miles away is now offensive after it's been traditionalized over the last 20 years? It doesn't make any sense. This is nothing but a virtue signal by FIFA to the woke. The punishment is bullshit. They are punishing the club for the behavior of their fan base. What the hell do you want them to do? You have the entire crowd chanting. You can't regulate behavior. What are they supposed to do about it? Put armed security in every section and threaten anyone who dares to chant puta? Are they supposed to hand out muzzles at the gate and require fans to wear them? Hell, they've been trying to force people to wear masks for the last 18 months. Why not add muzzles to that list? This is the second time this year that FIFA has punished Mexico over this damn puta chant. We talked about it earlier this summer when it happened. FIFA handed Mexico a 2-game punishment with no fans in attendance. They ended up reducing that punishment to just 1 game. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? FIFA punished Mexico likely because they were getting pressure from social justice warriors. Once the heat cooled off a little bit and some time passed, they quietly reduced the punishment to 1 game. Now, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But this is much bigger than just a 2-game punishment without fans. It's bad enough that the Mexican team has to try to qualify for the World Cup without fans in attendance. It'd be like the NFL banning Saints fans for 2 playoff games. Have a huge impact on the game, so that's bad enough. But this could also impact Mexico's bid to host the World Cup in 2026. The president of the Mexican Soccer Federation actually alluded to this a while back. He asked the question, how can we host the World Cup if we can't allow fans into the stadium? It's a legitimate question. At the time, he was actually imploring fans in Mexico to stop chanting puta. So it's not like the organization has just been sitting on their ass, not doing anything about this. But that's all they can really do. Ask fans to stop. After that, it's up to the fans in the stadium not to chant. Clearly, they are not going to comply. And there's that word again, comply. This is all about compliance. It's not about a puta chant. It's about compliance. Doing what you're told to do. FIFA demands you cease this chant immediately. If you don't comply, you get punished. They have even had Mexican players address crowds before games, begging them not to use this chant. That didn't work either. So I asked the same question. What the hell do you want them to do? I'll tell you what I think is going to end up happening. Now, keep in mind, I know very little about soccer, but I do know how the woke work, and I know how these powerful corporations willingly bow to political pressure. The current punishments from FIFA are not working. Now, does that mean FIFA is just going to give up and move on? Of course not. I mean, that's what a normal person would do over a chant that's really not a big deal and is really not offensive in any manner. But we're talking about social justice warriors here. I think FIFA could ramp up the punishment going forward, deducting points, possibly even forcing Mexico to forfeit a match, or maybe they disqualify them from the World Cup altogether. After all, we cannot risk having this puta chant on international television. That would be too dangerous. Someone might get offended. If any of those things were to happen, it would set a dangerous precedent in sports because you would be taking the results of a game off the field and judging the team based off the behavior of their fan base. I have read a lot on this over the last few hours. Apparently, most people in Mexico don't find puta to be offensive. The only people who think it's offensive is FIFA. FIFA is headquartered in Switzerland. How in the hell would they know what's offensive in Mexico? It would be like someone in China telling me what's offensive over here in America. Like I said, this is not about a chant. It is about compliance. It's about FIFA deeming something to be offensive and expecting people in Mexico to comply. But let's call it what it really is. Virtue signaling. Anyway, let me know what you think about this overreach by FIFA, telling people in Mexico from Switzerland what is offensive in their own culture. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.